Hello, everyone, and welcome to another book chat. This is book chat number 24, and it's slightly late this week. Um, Hoping to finish two books to be back on track. I skipped a week of reading, but you wouldn't necessarily have known that I had a book chat go up last week on Sunday to um, to keep the continuity going. But I want to tell you about a book that I just recently read that I unfortunately didn't enjoy as much as I was hoping to. The premise of this book is that there's a young girl and um, it's her last high school. Her name is Sophie Evans. And on the last day of high school, she gets dumped by her boyfriend, who breaks up with her because she's too predictable and he just can't deal with how predictable and how reasoned and how responsible her whole life is. And that begins a quest to um, become more well-rounded and experience more of life. And her best friend, Ella, agrees to help her with that. And to that end, they devise 90 days of different, wherein Sophie will try a different challenge every day. The first day that's given is they go into the ice cream shop and Sophie buys some wild sherbet ice cream for the first time. The book doesn't detail all 90 days of different, but there are quite a few of them, and some of them are quite creative, but some of them are disturbing, and I believe counter productive to the message that the author is trying to convey. Um, at its heart, the book is about the need to make change and the difficulty when you're so afraid of life that you don't live a full life and you don't make the best use of the days that have been given to you. Great message. Unfortunately, this book doesn't deliver well in its execution. Um, Not only are some of the days disturbing and counterproductive to the message, as I said, but I also think that this has been done better in other books. A few book chats ago, probably about a month and a half ago now, I read a book called The Definitive List, the Semi-Definitive List of Worst Nightmares by Crystal Sutherland. And I liked that book better than this book. I didn't like that book as much as I was expecting because it was much heavier than I expected. The tone in that book is very, very heavy for the most part. This book, not so much. So it gets kudos for that. But the execution in a semi-definitive list of worst nightmares was much better. The problem with this book is that you do see a lot of creative ideas for how Sophie changes through through the experiences that she has, and yet they just don't seem cohesive. They seem like you're reading a bunch of joined together days that don't really have a connecting thread other than the fact that her friend Ella is trying to challenge her. And there's also an undermining of friendship, in my opinion. With Ella, there's more than a degree of jealousy there on Ella's part. And so I wanted to like these characters more than I did. I related to Sophie quite a bit, but I wanted to actually get into these characters and see them grow more than I did. So, unfortunately, it's not a book that I would recommend. Besides a semi definitive list of worst nightmares, there's a nonfiction book, a little bit harder to find, called 31 Gifts, that was written by Cami Walker. It's a nonfiction story. Cami was a woman, and she was successful and doing well in her pursuits, and she started having these unusual symptoms, and it led eventually to what became diagnosed as multiple sclerosis, and a debilitating diagnosis that she was struggling with for a few years. And as part of her journey, she went to see a spiritual healer who gave her a prescription to give a gift away every day for 31 days. And the book chronicles that. Read that book. Read that book before you pick up this book. Unfortunately, 90 Days of Different, despite the premise, I should say, is just not worth your time. There are books that execute this premise far better, and I would skip this one. But if you decide to pick it up anyway, the book is called 90 Days of Different by Eric Waters, and it was published by Orca Books in 2017. That's all I have for this book chat, folks. Hope you're well. Hope everything is going okay for you in all of this heat from Southern California. And I will talk to you, Lord willing, very soon. Take care. Bye for now.